will be recorded in order that people who cannot attend it will be able to listen to it afterwards. So, and it would be also helpful to, if we want to generate a common intellectual output from this discussion. The discussion we are going to start right now, and that will take some days. So that's why we are going to start recording it. So, Elizabeth, if you want to start.
Okay. So we would like to welcome you. This is the second webinar. For you who are new, I'll start with a presentation from me and Mariona. So we will have just a few minutes telling you about us and how we are involved in this project. So my name is Eli Lagropoulou. I'm from Athens, and I am a teacher in a high school in Athens. I teach mathematics. So how am I involved? Our school has an Erasmus Plus project. It's about entrepreneurship in high schools. And we thought to start something to inspire our students with this interesting topic. We have an Erasmus Plus project with Finland, France, Italy, and Poland. This is our first project. It's a very exciting topic. And we have done a lot of things with our students. I can see some more participants now.
That's fine.
Hello.
Welcome.
Okay.
Yes, sure.
So this is how my school is involved. So we think it's very interesting because all of you are involved in some way. So I will ask Mariona to say a few things about her, and then maybe we can start. Mariona.
Okay, hello to everybody. My name is Mariona Masgrau. Together with Elizabeth, I am one of the facilitators of this discussion group from School Education Gateway. I am involved in this project because I have been coordinating a project about entrepreneurial education called Teacher 2020. You will find a link on our website, in this website of the School Education Gateway. And this project is about to finish now. In a week it will be over, but it was a very nice and interesting experience. We have been working with people from Czechia, from Scotland, from Italy, trying to promote entrepreneurial education at all levels, from the university studies to kindergarten school. That was quite nice, and all along we were trying to promote entrepreneurial projects. We were also trying to find common points and new strategies to evaluate it, to make people understand the importance of this approach, and so on. And we are very glad to be here to discuss with all your projects also that I think that we'll probably have many common points. So, I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves. Today we're a big group. That's very nice. That would be interesting. Let's try to introduce ourselves in order to make the discussion more familiar. So I don't know if Fahim, for instance, if you want to start. You were the first to arrive.
All right. Hi, my name is Fahim, and I'm currently in Sweden, and I've been working with an Erasmus Plus project for the last few weeks. It's called ELAN, Entrepreneurial Learning Assessment Network, and it's an EU project, obviously, and it's about assessing the students through an app developed by Chalmers with a researcher. And it's a 3-year project. It's been 2 years now, and it would finish next year. And the project is aimed at measuring the students' entrepreneurial skills, like taking initiative, transforming ideas into actions, making decisions, and it's also focused on improving their skills of communication and collaboration.
That's fine. Thank you. What about the other participants? I don't know who else want to be the following one. For instance, I can read some names. Andy Penaluna. Who?
They just told us that they cannot, they have no audio.
Okay, that's fine. Then I don't know.
Problem.
Okay.
Then I don't know who else wants to introduce him or herself. For instance, Ellie McCallum. Can you hear us? Yes? Fine.
Yes, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm able to speak. So my name is Luís Vaz, and I'm in Portugal. I represent PEEP, Platform for Entrepreneurship Education in Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
We are coordinating Erasmus Plus Key Action 3 project that is called Youth Start Entrepreneurial Challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's me. I work with Dana. Dana asked me to be here. He should be Dana Redford. Maybe some of you know him. So he asked me to be here representing PEEP and our project, Youth Start.
Okay, thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Perhaps I can go next.
Yes, sure.
Hi, I'm Ellen McCallum. I work with, we're in an organisation called Bantony Education. We're a social company working on entrepreneurial learning and creative learning, mainly in collaboration with other organisations to support them to develop this work. So we're involved with a number of different projects, mainly around entrepreneurship education in schools and VET, particularly looking at the EntreComp framework. And also I'm additionally involved in some research at EU level on entrepreneurship education and citizenship education with Eurydice.
Thank you.
Very pleased to be here.
Yeah. Who's next? I don't know who. If someone else wants to introduce him or herself.
Hi, this is Tom Gold. I'm with the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. We're an organization that teaches entrepreneurship in middle and high schools globally. We've been around for about 30 years. And we are not a part of this initiative in terms of the schools network, but we're very interested in working with you guys moving forward.
Oh, thank you. You're right.
Nice to have you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Kiki. Well, I don't know, it's a little bit complicated. I don't know if someone else wants to.
I'll jump in if that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Yes. Please.
So good morning or good evening, everyone. It's Gary Schoniger. I'm the founder and CEO of an organization called the Entrepreneurial Learning Initiative. We're based in Ohio in the United States. We develop curriculum, educator training focused on the entrepreneurial mindset. So we're also the creators of the Ice House Entrepreneurship Program through a partnership with the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. This curriculum is designed to expose a broad range of students to the fundamental aspects of entrepreneurial thinking and how it can be applied to either a traditional career or to starting a business.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello? I don't know if the others can want to introduce themselves, or if not, we can start the discussion.
I'm trying to get sound.
Okay, and we can hear you very well now.
You can hear us, yes?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Andy Panaluna, and this is...
Hi, and I'm Kath Panaluna. Hi, all.
Hello.
We've been involved in a number of European projects. Most of it started here in the UK because I chaired a group called Enterprise Educators UK, which is 104 universities. And we've been developing teacher training since 2010 with the support of the Welsh Government. So we're currently involved in 2 Erasmus Plus projects, and we were also involved in EntreComp. We were one of the 2 universities selected by the European Commission in the CARSA review. So we do a lot of work, which we could talk about for a long time, but we're looking forward to listening to other people as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody has already.
Hello.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Whenever I bring in the policy side to Anthony, what I bring in is the practical side. One of the projects that we're currently working on, for example, is an event that we're planning to hold early next year that tries to inform policies from a practitioner point of view. It's an event effectively that we hold here in Brussels with one of the German foundations, political foundations, to inform policies on. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So, now I think Valerie has introduced himself. Okay. So,
Hello.
Caroline. So, Elizabeth.
Do you hear me? Yes. Yes. Hello, my name is Maya. I'm coming from Croatia. I'm working at Southeast European Center for Entrepreneurial Learning. Hello to everyone. We are working since 2009 on developing entrepreneurial society and changing mindset in 8 Southeast European countries. So I'm very glad to be here. And we had a huge network of primary, lower secondary, upper secondary schools, as well as university and entrepreneurs as well. So I'm glad to be here today with you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to say a few things about himself?
Okay.
We can start.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Vera Martinho. I work for JA Europe, which is a worldwide organization that works with entrepreneurship education. We basically have programs from primary upper to upper secondary students and university, and we have several Erasmus Plus programs. So we work both with the students, teachers, business volunteers. We have a variety of activities going on, both at the European level and then at country level. So I think that's it, and I'm looking forward to hear the discussion today.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. And I think there is still someone else missing. Yes.
Yeah, well, but
yes, please. No. No.
No.
So, Ellie, let us start if you wish, because
I cannot hear anyone else. So we can start.
Can you speak louder?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh no.
Yes. Much louder. Yeah.
Not received.
Okay. So just let me introduce you to the first collaborative space. This is the first topic we are going to discuss about. We have started 1 month ago with our first topic. It was about the connections and differences between entrepreneurial education and business education. We had some questions in the collaborative space, and any one of the participants could enter and just write his or her opinion. Our initial aim was, to move to the second topic, and we're going to continue. But I think it would be a good idea if we have the first topic open for you, since we have so many participants, and maybe you can share your opinion about the first topic as well. So, we have probably entered the collaborative space, and you have seen that we have some threads for the first topic, the second topic, and a coffee corner. You can enter the coffee corner and you can say a few things about yourself, and maybe we can get to know each other. So our aim is to continue with the first topic, and you are welcome to enter and write your opinion. How we are going to use it? We usually have a few questions, and we are going to tell you about the questions a bit later. So, do you have any questions about the collaborative space you would like to ask us about the coffee corner, and have you seen the space?
Hey, this is my first meeting, so I'm not really familiar with what went on in the first meeting. So I would like to learn a little, like what exactly is coffee space and collaborative space.
Okay. So
this is our first meeting as well. So yeah, we are learning about the system as well, and I'm very interested in the business education, entrepreneurial education, because for 5 years I ran the business school network here in the UK, so I have some views and opinions.
Okay, so it will be a very interesting discussion then.
Yes.
Anyway.
Was that Andy?
Yeah. Hello.
Sorry, that's us.
Was that is this Andy Penaluna that was just talking?
Yeah.
Andy, this is Norris in the U.S. and I have the same sort of preferences. I just, whatever Andy says, go with it.
Okay.
As long as he's listening, I'm going to say that, yes.
Okay.
Anyway, so where is this collaborative space? This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay, I'm not sure if how you found this link for this.
You invited me here, Hannah from.
So
okay, so it's the first time. So we must say a few things about this space. Okay, Mariana,
cool.
Would you like to?
Okay, and please help me to explain it as well as we can. Well, School Education Gateway is a website, a meeting point for people who is collaborating in an European project and global projects. And this is the first, this discussion group is the first trial to create these specific discussion groups about specific subjects. This in particular is about entrepreneurial education. They have created some different sections in order to organize this discussion better, in order to share materials, to get to know each other and to chat informally. This would be the coffee corner shop. We have a journal at the beginning of the website where we can hang news about our discussion group, but also about our projects. We have also a section of materials where, if you wish, you can say, upload some of your intellectual outputs or some materials you know that you consider that can enrich the discussion. They can be both videos, or documents, PDFs, images, whatever, schemes, whatever you wish to share with us in order to make it know all the group and in order to talk about it. And is there any other section, Ellie? What I think that
no, I think it's the material, and we have all the announcements in the first page, which is our journal.
Mm-hmm. And well,
we just have the link. We just have the link in the chat, as you can probably see. You need to register, and then you can enter in the collaborator space.
Mm-hmm. Then the aim of the group is to discuss about entrepreneurial education, but also about some specific subjects related to entrepreneurial education. We started with a first topic that was the difference and connections about entrepreneurial education and business education. That was a good starting point in order to get to know our projects better, to know how do we conceive entrepreneurial education, because sure we have different perspective or different definitions about this concept. Maybe if you wish, we can now spend some minutes trying to define or trying to explain each other how do we conceive entrepreneurial education, because if not, maybe it would be different to talk about assessment in entrepreneurial meetings. But the aim was to discuss specific topics. Now we are on the second discussion. The second discussion was focused on assessment. How should we assess entrepreneurial projects? And well, the timetable of the discussion should be, first of all, we start with a webinar. We introduce the topic. We have a global discussion about the topic we have selected, and then during 2 weeks we should enter the forum, the collaborative space, uploading materials, making contributions about the questions we will launch, and try to delve into the topic. And at the end, we should be able to produce a common intellectual output, gathering all the contributions of all the partners. A document, a scheme, a PowerPoint, depending on the contributions we are able to do, and the stuff we all together generate. I don't know if it's clearer now. Do you have any other questions, Ellie? Do you want to add something else?
No, I think I can see that a lot of people have now are writing the email, so they're going to get some information about how they're going to get registered. I think it's important to have a short description of you and your project, so that we get to know each other. We usually do that in the coffee corner. And then I would really appreciate it if, since we have so many participants, they could share their opinions about the first topic as well. And then we can start and continue with the second topic. We will introduce the second topic today, but it would be good to have more opinions about the business education and the entrepreneurial education as well. That's what I think.
Ellie, can you please clarify the first question? I got the second one was about assessment. I'm not clear on what the first one was, the first discussion.
The first topic. Okay, the first topic was about the connections and differences between business education and entrepreneurial education. Some people believe it's the same.
Can you, I'm sorry, Ellie, it cut out for a moment. Can you please repeat that last sentence?
The differences and connections between business education and entrepreneurial education.
Okay, I can speak to that if this is appropriate now.
Sorry, Ellie, I think it would be maybe good to start with some global impressions about this first topic and about entrepreneurial education, so that before starting to focus on the second topic about assessment, because I'm sure that maybe we conceive this, we define this concept, entrepreneurial education, in different ways, and maybe it would be interesting to start sharing global impressions about our common topic. Do you agree? Is it fine, Ellie?
Of course.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
please,
of course.
Gary, if you want to start, please.
Yeah, I would. Thank you, Mariana and Ellie. So, you know, here's where we're coming from. If following some of, like, I'm going to pull a sentence from a paper published by the World Economic Forum, talking about entrepreneurship education as a global imperative, essential for all students to thrive in the 21st century. But more pointedly, what the World Economic Forum is saying is that it's not enough to add entrepreneurship on the perimeter, that it needs to shift to the core of the way education operates. And that is where we're operating. And I think we're stuck on the perimeter in many ways because of our association of entrepreneurship as a business discipline. So I'm looking forward to participating in this conversation because I think, you know, most of the entrepreneurship programs are designed for people who self-identify as business interested or entrepreneurial interested. And I think we need to broaden the discussion.
Norris, you're making a lot of sound.
No, it's on me.
Okay.
Probably best.
I'm getting a tremendous echo though from somewhere. This is very weird. It's coming through my phone. Let me hang up. I'll hang up and dial back.
Okay.
So
okay, how's that? How is that?
Better.
Perfect.
Okay. There was a major DDoS in the Pacific Northwest that the internet is still kind of messed up in my part of the universe. So, but WebEx is running smoothly now, so I'm very happy.
Okay. So, Gary, please go on with what?
Yes. So you know what I'm saying is that we're stuck on the perimeter in part because we're associating entrepreneurship as a business discipline. And I think we need to broaden the definition of entrepreneurship so as to be more broadly applicable and more broadly accessible.
Can I jump in on that?
Sure.
I think that's more of an American phenomenon. That I work across the States with, and Norris will be able to respond to this. In Europe, it's much more broadly viewed. Yeah, sure, we have some great things like U-Start, we're going to hear about, I guess, in a minute. But a lot of it is looking at the entrepreneurial mindset, as you described earlier. For example, the Commission just recently to DG Employ, you don't need to worry about the different parts of the Commission, there are many. But the start of the entrepreneurial journey, or at least an integral part of it, is things like creativity, opportunity recognition, forward visioning. Those are all skills and things that are in that document. Speaking from a very personal point of view, I spent 4 years running our UK Higher Education Academy group on entrepreneurial learning in business schools. I saw a very distinct pattern, and the pattern was simply this. The business schools seem to be very, very good, and business education generally, very, very good at evaluating things, testing, whereas the side of things that we're also trying to develop is this creativity, innovation, and this is the part that I'm really coming in on. I know Norris will say something in a moment. But here in the UK, back in 2012, we realised this, and so it's a purely UK thing, but we separate out enterprise and entrepreneurship thus. The enterprise is very much about the creative mindset, the ideas generator, the resilience, developing those kinds of things. And the entrepreneurship education is very much the business startup side of things. So we don't see the two as necessarily being separate, it's more of a continuum, but we understand that the flexibility, adaptability that you get, you don't see it in the business environment, in the business education environment so much. So if you mix, for example, people who do, teachers who do performing arts, they're very, very good at expressing themselves, very, very good at communication skills, very, very good at things like body language and pitching. You don't see those skills in the business schools. If you're looking at ideas generation, opportunity recognition, future-proofing, you find that in the design education area. So, for example, we seem to hear a lot about design thinking these days in the literature, and it's starting to come into more general conversation. However, if you look at the way it's used and when you actually explore that, you do tend to find it's being developed in a linear way by the business schools. It's quite closed in the way that it's applied. It doesn't, for example, look at the kind of multiple opportunity finding scenarios that you find in design education. So I would agree that it needs to be broadened, but quite possibly it's more of a US thing. I hope Norris is going to pick up on this. That seems to have more of the focus on the business, whereas in the European side of things, it's a much wider context about the sort of mindset for entrepreneurialism as well, and social entrepreneurship, not just about the finance. Mm-hmm. So I hope that gives some insight.
Thanks, Andy. This is Norris. There's been an immense amount of discussion about this. From the business schools do feel somewhat proprietary toward this at the university level, and there is a lot of backlash at primary and secondary because, well, we shouldn't be teaching business. However, it has been uniformly immensely popular with students and their families and other stakeholders. So I think that divide is changing a bit. The big push that we're seeing, certainly in the Western United States, is the focus on project-based and problem-based learning, which presents some different sorts of problems in that many educators, again, particularly at the university level, don't actually have any real expertise or experience at that.
Norris, can you stop moving around for a second? There's a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Well, I've been injured. I have to, let me see if, does this work? because it's depending on where I'm on my phone, so depending on where I am, it changes the sound coming in. So anyway, I think there's a great deal of interest. I know that there's major discussion about on this very point, and certainly for primary and secondary in rural areas, that there is going to be a major initiative to introduce entrepreneurship education, but probably not calling it that. That some of it has to do with this focus on project-based and problem-based learning, which seems to be so effective in sort of reinventing primary and secondary school. And there's, I think, a big opportunity for people like on this call to start making an impact on that. I think it's fascinating because we have a whole, because the political side of, there's never enough hours in the day for primary and secondary. There's never enough days even in the university to cover everything. So there tends to be some zero-sum thinking. The nice thing is, what Andy touched on, is there is not a business school out there, there's not a business educator out there who doesn't think they are brilliant at design thinking, just like they all think they're brilliant at lean startup. And I think we probably can safely say that's not true. But I think that figuring out how do we get that out to people, that real design thinking, real design education is, I think, is an important entry point. This is why I love talking to Andy and Kat, is that this is, I think, the way forward. And that's not me echoing now. Anyway, I would say that the business schools think entrepreneurship is theirs, but the rest of the universities do not. And I think there are a lot of engineering schools and, surprise, surprise, design schools that are seeing this as really their, it ought to be their turf. And they probably are already doing a better job of it than the typical business school. At K-12, it's going to be project-based learning is becoming red hot, and it's a perfect entry point for what we're doing. Since a lot of
can you? I hear a lot of talk about problem-based learning and project-based learning. Can you elaborate a little bit on the distinction between the two?
Well, the most important thing to know is people use them interchangeably and incorrectly. Because they both have the same acronym of PBL. Project-based learning is more of the technology. Problem-based is more is both technology and philosophy. Example of problem-based learning is you come into a classroom. There might be a textbook, but it's just a reference. You start day one solving problems individually, collectively. You have to figure out how to solve these problems, and there's an awful lot of that increasingly certainly in the sciences world. There are people who have experimented with this, a very pure problem-based learning, as in there are no lectures, there are no quizzes, classes. It's just going out and solving problems. It is a powerful tool. It works very effectively, and it annoys the crap out of administrators because it just is so alien. Project-based is a little better. It's a little easier entry point, is that you have individual and team project-based learning, saying, okay, instead of, we're not going to study everything about the Renaissance, we're going to do projects that address the Italian Renaissance and may be relatively specific. So they do a deep dive, but it's multidisciplinary, it's multifaceted. And in a lot of cases, a lot of improvisation and bricolage in doing that. The interesting thing that they both share is that students, the learners, learn more content knowledge than is necessarily obvious. That pure problem-based learning is not just mindset change.
Right.
The word mindset is that you're more likely to have deep mindset change in problem-based learning, but they're both it both come back to how well they're executed, how experiential they are. Hands-on, even a deeply problem-focused pedagogy is simply is not enough. You have to figure out how to make it deeply experiential and change how people think at a deep cognitive level. And people are using the word mindset rather cavalierly these days, but there's a lot of interest. In terms of the assessment side, we're starting to see very clear evidence that the deeply experiential learning, regardless of what the technology is, makes a much bigger difference at a deep cognitive level than the standard lecture, quiz, multiple choice test model.
Norris, can I jump in for a little bit here?
You may.
I think you know, you're elucidating some important points, and you know what we've done, which I'm sure you'll appreciate, Norris, is we've observed entrepreneurs in the wild, kind of like a safari or a game drive, right? We went out with night vision goggles and observed how entrepreneurs learn in the wild, and it seems to be experiential, and it seems to be problem-based. And I think an important distinction to make between the two is project-based is a little less student-centric, where the teacher assigns the task.
Not necessarily. In most of the programs it's set up in broad strokes, but the specifics of the project are developed by the students. These are, if it's done right, it's not just student-centric. It's student-led, and it's very powerful. But it's also very unnerving to more old school. But I was going to say antediluvian.
The point I wanted to bring into this conversation is what's really important that people often overlook is the ill-structured nature of the problem being solved. It creates controversy. There's multiple solution paths. That's like an important component of a problem-based project, I think.
Well, I would agree. I think the critical part that I find lacking often is that you're trying to move people from thinking more like a novice to more like an expert. That those deep cognitive structures change. I mean, anyone who's one thing I took away from the Entrepreneurship 360 initiative, like the Potsdam meeting, was just how much the great primary and secondary programs were doing. They were finding ways. How do you get the chess? If you want to become a chess master, you ought to find another chess master or a grandmaster to guide you along. Is taking away the right message. We have a lot of, and I don't want to bang on business schools too much, but a lot of people who think they're experts who aren't. And the students, the learners, are taking away the wrong lessons. The nice thing about entrepreneurs in the wild, as you put it, is if they take away the wrong lesson, they can there can be dire consequences. So it behooves you to try to take away the right lesson. I noticed of the programs that we saw at the Potsdam meeting, there was like 26 of them, and almost every one of them, even if it was second or third grade, they were very much student-led. They were very deeply engaged with the business community. And to Andy's earlier point is one thing, they were all good at identifying kind of that multiple opportunity identification that they mentioned. And I'm intrigued from the people on the.
I cannot hear you very well.
Can we please interrupt you for just a few minutes?
Oh, I'm fine. I said I don't want to dominate the discussion here. I want to hear what the other people are doing.
No. The problem is that we will run out of time because this is for just 1 hour. And Hannah would like to say something.
So
Hannah.
before Hannah's contribution, I just wanted to say regarding this issue of the discussion that was very interesting. There's regarding this the first topic of the discussion when we were discussing the difference on connections about entrepreneurial education and business education. A part of the discussion was also focused about new methodologies. If all these methodologies you were talking about, problem-based learning, project-based learning, but also service learning, cooperative learning, these are new methodologies that could be considered or not entrepreneurial methodologies. So that's something we can discuss about in this forum we have in the virtual space. So we will launch a specific question about it because it would be very interesting. I had also lots of things to say about it. Let's hear now Hannah's contribution, and I think some other participants would also say something about it. And if you agree, then we can focus on the second topic of the discussion. Hannah, please, if you want to.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Hello. Okay. Hello from the European Commission, and thank you for everybody for joining this discussion. I actually wanted to ask you, Mariana and Elizabeth, actually, just to maybe be clear about this question that you wanted to ask about assessment. I wasn't sure. Did you mean that you wanted to hear people's opinions about different types of assessment within a project? So perhaps some of the things that Gary and Norris were talking about, the problem of assessing this kind of messy student-centered or slightly messy sort of learning process, or did you actually want to know people's views about how to assess a whole entrepreneurship project? And maybe if you could, which is more about different people's roles and more of, I suppose, a whole project approach question, and maybe if you could say which one, and then maybe we could hear a little bit of every person's views on that one question, because I know we've only got 11 minutes before the end.
Okay, yeah.
So that was a question from me, but also perhaps a suggestion in order to hear from everybody by the end.
Okay, so then if you all agree, we will focus now on the second topic of the discussion, but please keep on making contributions about the first one, because sure they will be very interesting. You'll find the proper place to chat to discuss about it in the written language in our discussion forum. Regarding assessment, Elliot, do you want to start first? Should I start?
No, I will help you. I will make you presenter.
Okay.
And then I can continue.
Okay, thank you. So, as you wish. The fact is that Hannah has already made a very good introduction of the topic. All these questions she has launched are included in this discussion. I think these are all important aspects of assessment in entrepreneurial projects. We have been this, Ellie and I, we have different interests about this topic. One is, for instance, is what should be assessed in an entrepreneurial project for students, but also the projects, the results, not only the results, or as competencies of the students. This is one of the important aspects of this discussion. The other is if new methodologies are required for new projects, for a new way of teaching or learning. If we think that entrepreneurial education should transform, education should transform the ways of learning, I think that also assessment should be transformed, should should be maybe more reason. We should be able to explain better the assessment. We should be able to share the assessment with the students. Who should make the assessment? Only professors, or should we focus only on co-evaluation, on self-assessment? These are all the issues related that can be included in this discussion we are going to share these weeks, but we can start discussing some of them now.
You just pick one, because I think you've got now 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So just pick one, and then ask everybody to respond to one.
One of them. Ellie, do you want to choose one of them? Which one do you think it's more important right now? For instance,
I think we can start with what are we going to assess?
Okay.
Let's start with the first one.
Results, competencies, projects globally, the
students,
skills. What do you think about it?
Can I throw something in before we go any further? That might add some clarity.
Yes, sure.
One of the things that OECD 360 we soon came to realise that we're quite often talking about different things, and the assessment, we think evaluation. So we threw down a challenge which seemed to be positively received, and that was that we need to look at learner performance under two lenses, and it sort of picks up on this definition that we talked about before as well, and that is, do we want to assess students' implementation skills? Are they actually doing something that we know the outcome? So if it's perhaps putting together a particular tax form or something, it's an implementation task. You're doing, as described, it's easy to assess because you've got the various pointers that you need to do a tax form. If you're doing innovation assessment, it's totally different because the innovation should surprise. You don't already know the end solution. So innovation and implementation assessment strategies are significantly different. So if we look at the innovation ones, it's more about how many ideas can you have to look at the problem, how well can you articulate your ideas, how distinctly different are your multiple ideas to prove the creativity and innovation side. Whereas, as I said before, the implementation side is much easier because you're following something that you know the outcome. So we need to have that distinction in our thinking.
That's good. Thank you. Who else wants?
Hi, this is Tom Gold at Nifty. I just want to pick up what Andy said. I agree. We also, I think the importance is making a difference between application of knowledge and what we're calling mindset. And in that is also performance. So the idea of the student looking at the way that they're applying the knowledge that they're learning, what they're building, what their mindset is. And again, when we think about assessing mindset, I think what's really important is that this is critical formative information for the student. This is something for their self-growth and for them to see where they're going. It's not so much a summative assessment. And in thinking about application of knowledge, it's trying to get that full picture. What are the students learning? How are they applying all that knowledge? And this broadens it, away from the business and the startup to really these broader skills that they're developing through these programs.
Okay, thank you.
Can I also just check that people are familiar with the EntreComp framework? The EntreComp competence framework?
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I get it.
No. Shall I'll send a link to the EntreComp, so if people are not familiar with it, they can then see the wheel and they can see the various things that are on there, because it responds to a lot of your questions.
Okay. We will also launch a link with the handbook we have written within our project, Teacher 2020, in which we have also reflected on assessment. But maybe someone else wants to add some other perspectives to the debate. We haven't had some of you yet. That it would be nice to hear your contributions. I don't know, Doreen, Ellen.
Eileen, yes.
If I just speak quickly, just to say I've added in the link to the EntreComp tool and shared a little bit about it in the chat history. So if you look through there, you'll see some comments about that. It's a European tool that's developed to try and break down the entrepreneurship competence into essentially learning outcomes. So you've got a light version at the top looking at 15 competence areas, and then it goes into a lot more detail below that. But it's really designed to enable people to both understand what the broader understanding of entrepreneurial learning is, but also then to actually see, well, how can that be the learning outcomes which might enable that might be able to be mapped from a learning experience, so you can see where entrepreneurial learning can be within your education experience or your curriculum. So I would advocate, like Andy, just for people to have a look at that. It does answer a lot of questions in terms of offering an opportunity to both map the learning outcomes to support assessment.
Okay. I think we have a couple of minutes.
I don't know if you have some other questions or suggestions for the following discussion. Maybe we should start focusing on some of these aspects, for instance, about what to assess or about new methodologies for assessment. I don't know.
No, but I would like to ask the participants if they think that we should focus on something they are interested in more. And maybe we can focus on that.
Yes, that's what I was asking too. Yeah, that would be nice if we can, if you wish to focus on some specific issue about evaluation, that would be nice. No? Okay.
If I may jump in one, there's the other OECD lead program, HE Innovate, Higher Education Innovate program. There's also some interesting assessment going on there. I've been working with them a bit, and one of the things that came out of this, and this sort of echoes conversations I've had with Andy and Martin Lakeas, is that what you evaluate tells you a lot about what you're trying to do. That sometimes if we're evaluating on something very different than we think we are, than we think we're doing, we can get off track, and that's certainly a problem in North America, that the assessment is often dreadfully disconnected from what they claim they're doing. So I would love to hear what you guys are doing on the ground. What are you doing to assess? What are you doing to define? I'm really excited to hear this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we can use the forum. And I think Fahim has a question.
Yeah. Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I know we don't have enough time right now to talk about it, and it's not about assessment, but I'm very interested in promotion of entrepreneurial learning and how you guys go about it. So I would like to have maybe, send you emails or, have a discussion on emails or something like that. But I have a lot of questions about that. We want to do a follow-up project to our current project, and it's about EL promotion. So yeah, I would like to learn more about that from your experiences.
Okay, what do you mean exactly about promoting? Trying to spread it to get more people involved in it?
Yeah, exactly.
Traditional learners, that's not a good concept. That get involved in it. You mean, for instance, in institutions and so on?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we want to focus on students, but it also is very important for us in our new project that we involve the community and the teachers and, you know, parents and everyone in it, so that, you know, it kind of creating a kind of environment, an ecosystem, if you will. So I want to know, you know, how you guys go about it, because in the beginning you talked about promoting EL on multiple levels in your projects.
That would be very interesting. If we succeed in this second topic, we can keep on discussing about this third one. That would be very interesting for sure. If people keep on being interested in discussing all together, then we can focus on it. That would be nice.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't know if someone else have any other questions. We are getting lots of very interesting links. It would be very nice if you can also send them in the school education gateway discussion group. It would be easier maybe to have them there, but if not, we'll gather all them and we'll hang it. We will upload it in the discussion group. Okay. I don't know if any of you have any other question or suggestion or yes, please.
From a teacher training point of view, we've helped in Macedonia. This is another project where we've trained about 350 teachers who've gone on to train another 2,500 teachers. So in Macedonia now, there's a formal part of the education system is entrepreneurship education. It's compulsory. So all school teachers had to be trained in the country. The more linear things, you know, going back to what I was saying before about the implementation task and helping them with that, was much easier in terms of assessment than helping them with the innovation side. A lot of the teachers were very uncertain, very unsure how to actually do these things, which are risky in the classroom. In order to facilitate learning through risk, you need to also be a kind of a model for the people that you're teaching, that you're trying to help. Colleagues, are you familiar with andragogy and heutagogy as well as pedagogy? So if you're starting with pedagogy, it's very good for the implementation stage, and you can assess against that. Picking up on what Norris was saying, depends what you're trying to get from the outcome. So working it back, andragogy is very much adult learning, learner-led. And by the time you get to heutagogy, which is perhaps the highest level, the aim of the educator is to step back. And the aim of the educator is to ensure that the people become self-dependent and no longer need the educator. So the assessment changes according to your recognition of whether you're dealing with pedagogy, andragogy, or heutagogy.
Andy, that's spot on in my opinion. Self-directed learning is the ultimate goal, which is terrifying to many educators.
But what we found was when we actually engaged them for literally a day or two, the enthusiasm, Gary, was absolutely phenomenal.
Andy, I couldn't agree with you.
Started with a bit terrified, as you say, and once they got a grasp of some of the, the sort of stuff that Norris has done, we drew on that, and some of the neurological developments, we explained how brain functioning changes according to the way you're assessed and evaluated. We explained that to them. Once they saw the science, some of the science behind it, they changed their position totally in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I've also had that same experience, Andy. We've trained several thousand educators around the world. I've had the exact same experience you have.
Well, that sounds useful then, team.
Yeah, and to chime in, and then Norris again, the science, it's sort of nice, yes, it not only works in practice, it also works in theory. it gives us a little more credibility with educators. That's very important. It also helps us. It helps speak to the assessment issue. But Andy and Gary touched on how can I use the word joyous? How is exciting when people realize that this stuff would really, that stepping back really works, and that people are more than capable of doing this. And a lot of programs, entrepreneurship programs, at least in North America, that they're discovering it. They just don't know there's a word called hudagadji. I cannot pronounce it or spell it, but I sure love it. And I think, but it's scary. I don't know to educators, but it's scary as hell to administrators. And that's an issue maybe we want, in terms of implementing these programs, maybe it speaks to what Fahim is interested in. How do we sell the stakeholders with the power to make this happen?
Norris, could I jump in on that? And colleagues,
yep.
Just very quick. I put a link up just now to CSAL. I don't know if we've lost Maya, but at ISCID Level 3, we've actually created learning outcomes for the pupils, learning outcomes for the teachers, and learning outcomes for the managers, and a framework in which you can actually connect all of that together. So the educators then also work with parents and their own sort of commissions in their countries. So if you look at the CSAL Level 3, you'll find a working example of how that has been addressed.
Okay.
Awesome, Andy.
Here again, Andy. Sorry for interruption. Sorry, Norris, for interruption. I hear from CSAL. Yes, as well, we developed also learning outcomes for ISCID Level 1 and 2, and ISCID Level 5 and 6 for non-business universities. So we developed also some assessment methods which can be seen, but I'm proposing to discuss more, as we have a short time period through forum on a gateway. So I'm already making my my username there, so we can be in touch also there.
Well worth looking at, everyone, because it's a problem solved. It's a problem you're all talking about, and it's a problem solved. And I'm not sure who's still there, but some people I think were at the event last week where the performance of the students actually had its own voice.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And for a design guy like Andy to say the problem is solved in a world that we rarely do get solved with, this is pretty impressive. When this call ends, will we be able to retrieve the links and such that are in the chat? If not, can someone capture that so we all have that, and the people who weren't on the call or left early, we could get all those links that people have been posting?
I think that's going to be captured, Norris.
Okay.
Can I just say
anyway, thanks everybody.
I'm just going to throw one more thing in. That every time I hear these conversations as being new, a lot of the things that I've talked about before, I've been in design education for 32 years. A lot of things you find being discussed, especially about assessment in entrepreneurial mindset, it's the way I was taught 40 years ago. You know, this stuff already exists in other disciplines. And perhaps by being stuck in the business discipline, we're missing the sort of like the performing arts, the creative arts, being able to make a distinction between a fine art student and a design student. When a fine art student is motivated for self, and a design student is motivated to solve other people's problems. Just think of that as a definition. Motivated to solve other people's problems. That's an output from design education that's been around for about 40 years.
Which, Andy, I just want to jump in on that. That speaks to a very important point, that solving other people's problems is much more likely to elicit intrinsic motivation, a much deeper level of engagement than is someone who's just trying to solve their own itch or scratch their own itch.
Yeah.
that should be one of the definition characteristics of entrepreneurial education, solving others' problems. Social engagement should be one of the main points in entrepreneurial education for sure. And I also agree in what Andy was saying, that we are reflecting on things that are on the table for decades right now. Some of the contributions we are making now that we are redefining and defining and redefining entrepreneurial education are, for instance, Dewey's contributions for sure. But anyway, society has changed. I think the debate is always interesting, and always we add always new aspects, new new contributions to the debate of how to innovate in education, how to improve it. But not new for sure, this debate.
Can I just jump in with a final comment?
Sure.
I want to piggyback on what Andy's saying, because this is where some of our research is easy to overlook when we're trying to understand why our entrepreneurs, why do they tend to be so engaged? The nature of the goal pursued is an important piece of the puzzle that I don't think a lot of people are looking at. When someone is pursuing, you know, this, who's getting in their car? Norris, is that you?
Yes, no.
Norris, can you mute yourself? Thank you.
I was muted.
Okay, well, we heard your car bells ding-dinging. Anyways.
My car is 2 blocks away.
All I'm saying is that the nature of the goal pursued is an important piece of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. When someone is pursuing, you know, something that for themselves, or if they're extrinsically motivated or intrinsically motivated, it's an important piece of the puzzle. I'm not prepared to get into a long discussion on that right now, but I think, Andy, you kind of hit on that. It's an important issue to consider.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just put up a link to the UK guidance, which may be useful because it picks up on a lot of your conversations. And again, this was put together not just by business schools, but put together for all UK higher education disciplines. So you can have an A to Z, as we call it, of subjects, and they can all reference this to develop their entrepreneurial skills. So a lot of this work is now being referenced in things like EntreComp and in our own schooling here in Wales, and way, way, way beyond.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good stuff.
So.
I think it's impressive how many opinions we are going to have in this discussion group.
Mm-hmm. that people are able to manage it and to gather it all in but sure, it would be very, very interesting. There are lots of things to say. We have lots of lines to keep on discussing. So please, we wait for you in the School Education Gateway space in order to keep on debating.
Okay, I also hope to see you all there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
We'll be there, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you all.
Thanks for organizing it, Hannah.
Yes, thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
See you next week. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.